Good morning, friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of Trans India Real People, Real Emotions. This week, we shall continue our interaction with the CEO of Tata Motors Finance, Mr. Anand. But first, here are the headlines of the week, followed by a very short break. FADA releases January 22 vehicle retail data. Commercial vehicle sales up 20% over last January. Gati appoints Anish Mathew as Chief Financial Officer. Ashok Leyland launches India's first 7 cubic meter ICV tipper E-Comet Star 1415. Bengaluru to get 1500 electric buses under central scheme. FedEx commences electric vehicle trials in India. Mumbai Chhatrapati Shivaji Mumbai International Airport witnesses a 28% rise in EXIV movement in calendar year 2021. According to a Delhi government report, 89% road accident deaths in 2020 involved pedestrians and motorcyclists. Coming up after this very short break, news and our exclusive interview with Mr. Anand. Keep watching Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions.
याद है कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था, लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी, तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
Welcome back to Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions. Well, the country may be in the midst of a third wave crisis. The automobile segment seems to be growing in certain sectors. Of course, the industry would do better if the shortage of chips and semiconductors would be taken care of. Meanwhile, the Federation of Automobile Dealers Association (FADA) released vehicle retail data for January 2022. Commenting on how January 2022 performed, FADA President Mr. Vinkesh Gulati said, "The month of January continues to show weak performance as overall retails on a year-on-year basis fell by 10.7%, while three-wheelers and commercial vehicles continue to remain in green with a growth of 30% and 20.5% respectively. Two-wheelers, passenger vehicles and tractors closed in negative with degrowth of 13%, 10% respectively. Auto retail's weak performance of minus 18.4% compared to January 20, a pre-COVID month, continues to show that India is yet to recover from the COVID effect which gripped the world 2 years ago. Meanwhile, the commercial vehicle segment reported an increase in sales by 20% over January 2021, though sales as compared to 2020 were still lagging by 9%. The industry is expecting a robust 2022 and is hoping that they would reach the pre-COVID levels soon. The HCV segment recorded the maximum growth of 41%, selling 20,279 trucks in January 2022. The medium commercial vehicle segment recorded an increase of 17%, selling 4,093 vehicles, and the LCV segment recorded a growth of 16%, selling 40,343 vehicles. Gati Limited, India's leading express distribution and supply chain management company, has appointed Mr. Anish Mathew as its Chief Financial Officer. Mathew will play a pivotal role in managing the core financial and fiscal management aspects of Gati Limited in his role as the CFO. He will also lead the entire finance function of the company on a pan-India basis. Mathew brings to the company rich and diversified experience that covers consumer, pharmaceuticals, pulp and paper and manufacturing sectors. He has worked in top leadership positions with listed companies such as International Paper Limited, Pepsi and Usha Martin. Mr. Pirocha Sarkari, CEO Gati Limited, said on Anish's appointment, "Anish's appointment is in line with our endeavour to strengthen our leadership team and spearhead our ambitious growth and expansion plans. An empowering and strategic leader, Anish will work closely with the Gati management to translate business visions into actionable outcomes to help the company scale a sustainable trajectory growth." Ashok Leyland launched the E-Comet Star 1415 7 cubic meter tipper the first company to offer 7 cubic meter capacity in the intermediate commercial vehicle segment. New e-Comet Star 1415 tipper supplements Ashok Leyland's ICV tipper range with earlier launched e-Comet Star 1015 tipper, which was a 5 cubic meter tipper, and 1215 tipper, which was a 6 cubic meter. e-Comet Star 1415 tipper comes with 14 tons GVW and is fitted with twin tipping ram for heavy duty operations. It is powered by Ashok Leyland's iGen 6 technology 150 horsepower H4 engine, delivering 450 Newton meter torque and 6-speed heavy-duty DD gearbox for best-in-class fluid economy. Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, head MNHCV Ashok Leyland, said, "The ICV tipper segment is seeing a spurt in demand due to the focus on infrastructure in northeast and hilly states and increased construction activity in rural areas pan-India. The ICV tippers are most preferred due to better maneuverability in narrow roads and easy accessibility to loading and unloading sites. To meet the evolving customer needs, we continue to expand our ICV tipper product portfolio with e-Comet Star 1415 tipper. The e-Comet Star 1415 tipper is a differentiated product which can carry 7 cubic meter load with a fuel-efficient iGen 6 H4 engine, which increases the productivity, thereby resulting in best-in-class total cost of ownership. If all goes to plan, Bengaluru will soon get 1500 electric buses under the centre's Grand Challenge plan. Convergence Energy Services Limited, a PSU under the Union Ministry of Power, recently unveiled a tender worth Rs 5,500 crores to include 5,580 e-buses across the country. Bengaluru is expected to get 1500 e-buses under the scheme, while Calcutta will get the maximum number of e-buses, which is expected to be around 2000. Delhi will also get 1500 buses, while Hyderabad and Surat will get 300 and 150 buses respectively. FedEx Express, a subsidiary of leading global express transportation company FedEx Corp, announced the brand solutions commencement of electric vehicle trials in India, with Bengaluru to begin with, as part of its global goal to achieve carbon neutral operations by 2040. The trial, which is expected to conclude within a month in Bengaluru, will test the vehicle technology within FedEx Express operations, assessing the vehicle's operational effectiveness on a standard route fully loaded with packages, the company said in a statement. Following positive trial results, FedEx Express will extend the trial to Delhi. The company said that with last mile delivery burgeoning thanks to rapid e-commerce growth, each new electric vehicle added to the FedEx delivery fleet in India can reduce fuel consumption and emissions equivalent to 5 passenger cars. Mohammad Sayegh, Vice President India Operations of FedEx Express on the development, said, "FedEx has a mission to connect the world responsibly and resourcefully, and I am incredibly pleased to announce the launch of our electric vehicle trial in India, which is in line with our global goal to achieve carbon neutral operations by 2040. Even amidst the various challenges that arose in global supply chain due to the pandemic, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport witnessed promising signs of the exim movement going back to the pre-COVID days. CSMI's Air Cargo Terminal in calendar year 2021 handled a record 7.7 lakh tons of cargo, which is 28% more than that of calendar year 2020, where around 6 lakh tons of cargo was facilitated. CSMIA in the past year facilitated the increasing demand of export goods across the globe and has on month witnessed a steady rise in shipments. Pedestrians, motorcyclists and cyclists account for 89% of the 1,197 deaths that occurred due to road accidents in the national capital in 2020, according to a report released by the Delhi Transport Department. The report also found that 51% of all fatal crashes in 2020 were instances of hit and run. The report, titled Delhi Road Crash Fatalities Report 2020, was released by the Road Safety Lead Agency of the Transport Department in collaboration with the Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative for Global Road Safety. According to the report, motorcyclists, including riders and pillion riders, accounted for 45% and pedestrians for 40% of all deaths in road crashes. The report has identified several high-risk corridors and areas. Among high-risk corridors, GTK Road, Azadpur roundabout to Singhu, Wazirabad Road and Pusta Road had the highest number of deaths per kilometer. Meanwhile, the Outer Ring Road and Ring Road reported the highest number of persons killed in 2020. Azadpur Chowk, intersection of Outer Ring Road and Wazirabad Road and stretch in front of Forensic Science Laboratory, Rohini Sector 14, Outer Ring Road, were the high-risk areas for all road users. The identifications of high-risk locations will help in taking remedial steps and reduce deaths and crashes at these spots, said government officials. Well friends, that's it from our news segment this week. And coming up after this very short break is our interaction with Mr. Anand, the CEO of Tata Motors Finance. Stay tuned and keep watching Trans India, real people, real emotions.
याद है कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था, लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी, तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
So, Anand, what are the current disbursement levels?
So current disbursement, we are doing around 1600 crores a month. That's a kind of the disbursements what we are doing, which constitutes something like, I think we are doing around 12,500 loans per month.
Is this back to the pre-COVID time or we are still to get there?
So pre-COVID we used to do between 1600 to 1800 crores, and now we are doing around 1600
Anand, how do you see the CV segment performing from here on? What do you think are going to be the growth drivers?
See, the biggest driver of the growth will be the infrastructure spend, because that the recovery, whether we call it or we call it the industry, this government has had a lot of focus on the infrastructure development, and we see that once the infra growth comes in, that follows up with the associated entity, whether you talk about cement or other iron or logistics. So I think infra is going to be a big push from the growth perspective. And we personally, our view is that we are going to get into a up cycle of the commercial vehicles very soon. In smaller commercial vehicles, what is happening is that the demand is the government-led schemes. So there are large contracts and the orders what government is giving, like under the Swachh Bharat scheme. Then there are the wheels, anything to be on the wheels. Now there are the tenders where the ration will be distributed on wheels. There are government meal schemes on the wheels. There are now petrol pumps on the wheels. I think these initiatives are going to drive the smaller vehicle demand. So infra for the fleet or the large vehicles, and the normal growth plus pushed up with these various different kind of the applications, I think is going to drive the small commercial vehicle business.
Anand, even the EV segment has shown exponential growth. The last mile deliveries have been going up. How are you catering to this particular segment?
So definitely yes, I think the e-commerce has been a big driver, and e-commerce not only on the large or the long haul side, but also on the last mile delivery, I think has been playing a very critical play. What the good thing is, the Tata Motors products, they are also suited for the e-commerce industry, whether it's a large wheel base or the larger vehicles. And I think yes, I think it should continue to grow.
Anand, the scrapping policy comes in the next couple of months. How do you see that impacting the commercial vehicle industry on the whole and your business specifically?
So let me put it this way, that it's too early to comment on the scrappage policy, because 15 years is a long period for a commercial vehicle to be scrapped. The first thing, it has to start from our own infrastructure to actually scrap vehicles. So we need to wait and see that how the impact of the scrappage policy or actual scrappage starts happening. But probably even if it will have any impact, we don't believe it will be more than 2 to 4% from the overall industry growth coming from the scrappage policy. That's I will put it as an optimistic number. But let's see how the final rules and the regulations come on the scrappage. But in long term, I think once if the government start reducing the age of the vehicle, I think this can be a game changer for the boosting the demand for commercial vehicles.
Anand, the government has been reaching out to companies and even financiers to help in setting up scrapping units across the country. Is Tata Motor Finance considering setting up a scrapping facility on its own, or are you looking to lend to someone who is ready to set up one such facility?
So we have evaluated 2-3 proposals for the scrap yards with the Tata Motors and a few of the partners who have shown the intent to put in the scrap yard. I think as and when the things comes, this will be a extension of the Tata Motors ecosystem, and we exist to serve the TML ecosystem. I think we will definitely be a partner as and when I think Tata Motors also shortlist that which are the partners they are going to choose, and this is an active discussion along with Tata Motors Limited also. But I think still people are waiting for the clarity and even the machinery what is required to do the scrappage. Probably next 3 to 6 months more clarity should emerge that how the things are going to play for scrappage.
And this would be a worrying question, not just for you but for the entire financing fraternity actually. In the last few years we've seen the trucks are getting expensive, at the same time the operating cost of transporters is getting higher, and on the other hand we see intense competition between transporters which is not getting the freight up anywhere close to the operating cost in fact. Does that bother you in a way, because end of the day it is your money which is at risk?
Okay, so yes, definitely the prices have gone up. If you see in this our industry, what matters is the TCO, what is the total cost of ownership. So what we started doing that to mitigate the risk, when the prices were up anywhere between 5% to 15-20%, if you look into the pricing, I think the average tenor of the loan, which used to be 4 years for the commercial vehicles, I think now it has standardized at something like a 5 years. So today a BS6 vehicle probably with the tenor match is available at the similar kind of the EMI what a BS4 was available. We have evaluated now BS6 has been in existence for the last 18 months, 19 months. And as of now, we are pretty comfortable from the risk perspective. It's a better product. The economics of the product is much better. And let me also mention, I think with 60 years of history, we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4. When we were moving from 3 to 4, I think a similar kind of the discussions we were having. But I think now the same thing is for 4 to 6. But if you speak to the customer, I think they have appreciated the Tata Motors BS6 products. It is visible in the Tata Motors market share gain also. And as a financier, I think we feel it pretty comfortable in financing the BS6 vehicles. One thing what has happened is that typically in a customer profile, as an NBFC, we are probably one of the largest FTU financier. FTUs are the first time users. So in MNHCVs, in trucks, 20 to 25% of the total purchases used to come from the first time users. Now with the price, the exposure going up, I think FTU segment has reduced, and the big fleet operators have become the prominent players. So other than that, I think from a risk perspective, we are pretty comfortable.
So Anand, how has this risk exposure dynamics changed with all this happening, with the operating costs going up, the trucks getting expensive, the margins getting lower? What is the scenario like?
Okay, my view is that commercial vehicle business, because we finance an income earning asset, and the viability calculations what we do for our risk assessment is good enough. I think that the owner or the customer and the transporter should be able to make money. When it comes to any kind of the OPEX going up, what we have said that our purpose, what we say, that we want to be an enabler for the economic success of our customers, and that is why we have come out with financing the OPEX. So we have a digitally enabled fuel loan product We have got into fast-tech financing, and now we are going to get into the tire financing. In this business, if a customer manages his working capital cycle properly, I think he can survive the small blips what comes in. And that's why I think we find it the right opportunity that we should scale up our payment solutions business, which is financing the OPEX for the customers, be closer to them, and that's how I think you build the customers for life. So yes, in short term we might see some blips that customers EMI is going here and there, but I think we are responding back with first products what can serve the purpose, and the second I think having the right tools and plans to ensure that I think the EMIs are collected from the customer.
Friends, on that note, we shall take a very short break, and on the other side of this break we shall continue our interaction with Mr. Anand Bang. Keep watching Trans India, real people, real emotions.
याद है कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था, लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी, तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
So Anand, what are the other offerings of Tata Motor Finance besides just financing of trucks?
So within, as part of the vehicle life cycle financing, so at the time of purchase of the vehicle, whether it is AMC or it is insurance, I think we take it as an on-road cost. That is one piece of the business. Second thing, once the vehicle comes on the road, when it comes to fuel, when it comes to FASTag, when it comes to tires, because these are the expenses which constitutes 75-80% of the total spent what a transporter has. I think we are offering all these products, and the key thing is that these are all digitally enabled, because these are the items which gets churned over a period of time, because you fill the fuel, then I think you measure it, and then I think probably I think you need an flexibility to use it as and when I think the need arises. So that's, I think these are the products what we have been doing, and going ahead we have forayed in used vehicle around 5 years back, and for a customer we offer many of our schemes what we offer, where we offer the bullet, or when the customer can come and hand over the vehicle back to us to ensure that he doesn't need to dispose of the vehicles. So all and across for a vehicle in the life cycle, any kind of the OPEX or any kind of the residual value solutions, that's what I think what we are doing.
Anand, we keep talking to a lot of transporters and truckers, and many of them often say that, the financiers are in a way responsible for getting this overcapacity in the road transport industry, because they lend money to any Tom, Dick and Harry who comes to them. What is your take on this allegation of sorts?
Let me, I think, put it this way, that overcapacity came in when the Excel norms were relaxed, and first it started because government suddenly gave an option that 18 to 20% of the load can be carried more on the vehicles. I think this is the place where where actually the problem started. What financiers are doing is, I will say, as part of the business, I think it's a function of, at the time, what is the situation of the customer and what is the call on the industry, and I think that is what is happening. There might be some overcapacity, but I believe that with the recent norms what are being changed, the GST is going to be big enablers, and commercial vehicle is also creates entrepreneurs, right? So that is why I don't believe that I think there is too much of the overcapacity, and I think gradually I think we should even out within the market.
But surely you do have your checks in place before you lend out money to anybody.
That I think as a financier, we are a regulated entity, and what we rely on when it comes to small commercial vehicles, I think what we rely on the analytics. That is the key for our decision making, and specifically the questions what is posed to the customer, because this is a large FTU segment where you need to assess the intent of the customer and application what customer is going to use. And with our 15 years of the data, so at any point of time, we keep on looking at the last 15 years of the data for the viability, for the assessment of the risk, and that becomes a basis for approving or rejecting a particular proposal.
And the very critical element of the road transport industry is also the dealer, who is actually a link between the OEM and the customer, be it a transporter or a trucker. How are you helping the dealer community? What products do you have for them?
If we talk about Tata Motors dealers, first thing is we work across product categories and all the dealers of Tata Motors, specifically in commercial vehicle side. So whether it is short-term requirement of the dealers, which is inventory financing solutions, or even the long-term, whether it is to build the showrooms or build the workshop, or even any kind of the working capital mismatches what has come across over the period of time, I think we have developed solution across the requirements of the what dealers come in. We also help the dealers by giving them access to our systems so that they have the full visibility that how the deals are progressing, putting our people there, with the right remuneration for the dealers for sourcing the deals, where the deals are sourced by the dealers. We have, as part of our annual exercise, we do our dealer satisfaction survey also, and dealers have come and said that we are probably one of the most preferred financier for the Tata Motors dealer community. So one is the financing side. I think there it is our job to ensure that I think we give them the right financing solution. Second side is also, as we deal in a cyclical industry, to stand with our dealer partners. And one of the key takeaway from the DSAT or the dealer satisfaction was that TMF is an all-weather friend. In this industry, when you have these blips, many of the times you see that in a bull market you will see every financier on your doorstep, and when the thing starts coming down, I think it becomes difficult. But I think we are committed to serve the TML ecosystem. Dealers are very, very important with them in all ups and downs. Even during the COVID time, I think we came up with a package solution for dealers of around 300 crore rupees to help them, because the operating expenses had not stopped. I think April and May were probably closer to zero sales, but your operating expenses, your other liabilities were still there, and we helped them, I think, dealers in providing them funds to ensure that I think they continue to do their serve their OPEX, as well as I think if there are any other liabilities, those are taken care of.
Anand, there's this buzz around that the road transport industry is getting back to normal. The commercial vehicle industry is also bouncing back to recovery and should be on the path to a better growth in the near future. How do you see the future of Tata Motor Finance from here on amidst all this that is happening around?
Sure. So let me start by commercial vehicles. I think I believe first the Tata Motors leadership in the commercial vehicles and their own focus in innovating, in coming out with the new product. I think commercial vehicle is there for a bull run. That's what I think I will say. And Tata Motors, I personally believe, is going to gain the market share with the current product lineup what Tata Motors has had. Being the largest financier for Tata Motors commercial vehicles, I think TMF would like to play a significant role in expanding the market share, as well as also help in reaching to the new geographies and serving the new customer segments. For Tata Motor Finance, I think our vision statement, probably what we say, is that we want to build the economic success and fulfill aspiration of our customer. So we will continue to do that. which basically requires, which is probably the business as usual for us, which is being close to the customers, coming out with the new products, new schemes which serves the purpose for the customers. Then the point comes our own aspiration from the financial numbers, which is be the largest commercial vehicle financier in the country. We are obviously the largest financier for Tata Motors vehicle, but our aspiration is to be the largest CV financier, all OEMs put together, just by doing Tata Motors business. And at the same time, I think deliver it with the performance, which is deliver the shareholder expectation on the return on equity also. So we are working very hard that we can reach to a 15% ROE for the business what we are doing. The key thing also remains that we want to serve the entire vehicle life cycle. That is why we started focusing on the used vehicle business, and probably I think if the things goes right, I think you will see us as a top 2 financier in the used vehicle segment in next 12 to 18 months to come into. Last 5 years, I think our CAGR is 50% for the used vehicle business, and we are doing the right things, and we want to be in the top 2 player in the next 12 to 18 months in the used vehicle business. In Tata Motors ecosystem financing solution, which is dealers and vendors, one is, I think, the serve the dealers and vendors, but vendors is a piece, I think, which is a new for us. It has got enormous potential, and whether coming out with a working capital solutions or even any kind of the capex financing requirement, that is, I think, that is the place there where we are working very closely with Tata Motors and the vendor partners or the vendors of Tata Motors, and grow that business. I think that business also has a potential to grow 50% year on year for the next 3 to 5 years. So that's, I think, what the plans are.
Well, friends, that was our interaction with Mr. Anand Bang, the CEO of Tata Motor Finance. Next week, we shall be back with you with a very special interaction. So until next week, stay safe, Jai Hind, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel Trans India, which is for real people and with real emotions.